It's August. It's fantasy football draft season. Today, we're going to be looking at 3 players we got to pay attention to. We got to watch where they're going in our drafts. And 3 guys you need to pay attention to because you may need to pick them up because they could go nuclear. Before we dig in, though, you need to click that subscribe button right now because we're looking at these players every day. We're looking at strategies. We're doing rankings. We're helping you set your lineups. We're looking at the waiver wire every day throughout the season. Click that button. Stop missing out. There's videos every day. It's here. It's free. First player you need to keep an eye out on for the news. Everything else is Rashee Rice. Watching ADP over at Underdog. It's best ball. It's a little bit different. But you need to keep an eye on it. I'm not going to say buy, sell, hold, trade. I'm not going to undercut you with some clickbait analysis. But you do need to pay attention to the suspension and how long that's going to be. It could be 2 to 4 games. It could be 4 to 6. It could be longer. But you do not want to make the bet on that, considering it's up in the air. You don't know. Especially where you're at this part of the draft where there's a lot of functional players. However, if you're setting lineups and he's out 6 games, that's a long time to wait when you have opportunity costs of other players that have a lot of good value that's sitting there on the board. I would like him cheaper. I would like him a little bit cheaper than this. I love him on the field. I think you're going to get multiple wide receiver 1 weeks out of him. If he's playing 6 games, 8 games, 10 games, you're going to get a good batch of wide receiver 1 weeks out of him. And minimal wide receiver 2 games. Very few games where he flatlines when he's out on the field. He could start the season and get hit with the suspension down the line too. That could potentially happen. But you need to be on the lookout for this. I'm not going to say fade him because I'm not. But I'm also watching the price. It dipped a little bit on Underdog and it came back up. People are being overzealous with the suspension. You need to watch him in your draft. If he drops a little bit further, then you're good to go. But again, you got to pay attention to that suspension because you're setting lineups here. That's a little bit different than best ball. If you're missing half the season but still get 5 wide receiver 1 weeks and 2 top wide receiver 2 games on top of that, barely ever flatlining, that's great. That's going to be hard to set lineups with where you can't use that, and now you got to have your bench spot held over, and really depends on how your roster is constructed, whether or not you can throw them in any other spots to hoard them. Rashee Rice there, that's expensive. That's expensive because what if it's 6 to 10 games? What if it's 7 games? What if it's something like that? And now you got a hole burning in your pocket the whole season, and you got to hope that you can unleash him and still have a good record. That's one thing to think about. And you got good players around him. But again, I'm still picking him up. I'm watching where he goes in drafts. When you get in those home league drafts, depending on who you're drafting with, he could fall a lot further than this because of people being scared, and I'm going to be picking him up. That being said, pay attention. There's some players that are not on my draft board, mainly due to injury because I'm drafting everybody. But they got to really fall for me. Joe Mixon has to fall. Joe Mixon has to fall. We ain't seen him out there. Nick Chubb's been getting to work. Nick Chubb looks like he's back. Looks like Joe Mixon will be sharing it with Nick Chubb if he comes back. There's a lot of questions here. You got Woody Marks. What's going to be up with Joe Mixon? You're looking at round 7 draft capital here on Underdog. You got a lot of good options here still on the board. Tony Pollard, they're talking about sharing the workload a little bit more. But he is very steady last season. He was very efficient fantasy scoring-wise last year, mainly RB2 weeks, week in and week out, with like 3 to 4 low games. You're looking at Josh Downs, healthy on the field. He's rock solid. Mika Ibuka, Matthew Golden. You got your upside plays there at wide receiver. You got more upside plays behind him at wide receiver in the next round on Underdog. There's just a lot of other avenues you can explore right now instead of drafting a hurt running back that was hurt last year. When he's healthy and getting all the opportunities, he's great. Probably not going to get all the opportunities anymore if Nick Chubb keeps playing well. He's looking good in camp. You saw that one clip. I'll show it to you here soon of him with that run looking like he's partially back. Not all the way, but partially back. And you're looking at Joe Mixon here. He's not on the field. You don't know when he's coming back. Maybe somewhere down the line in season. But when he comes back, how many games is he going to play? And now we're looking at draft capital here where the discount's there, but I would like it a little bit cheaper because there's good potential. You're sharing the backfield now. You're sharing touches. You're not going to be on the field the full season. We do not know how you're going to start off the season, how you're going to be health-wise. There's a lot of questions here. There's some functional assets on the board here that I can use to round out my depth chart. When you're healthy on the field, you were great last year, but you were also missing some weeks. You had some low ball weeks. That's something I do not want anything a part of. Unless I catch a real discount, I don't think this is much of a discount for me when considering all the context here around Joe Mixon. The price has to be right for some players, but the news has to get better, and it's got to get somehow better for Quinshon Judkins for him to be draftable right now. The talent's there. It's always been there. It was there at Ole Miss. It was there at Ohio State. But now we're dropping in drafts like an anvil in ADP, and a lot of people are swiping that button, shooting for that upside, which is great for best ball. You got to hoard him for a whole season now. He's not signed yet. He's not at practice. We're getting closer and closer to the start of the season. Joint practices start Wednesday for the Browns. He's not out there. Dylan Sampson is a little bit cheaper even. You can pick him up. Jerome Ford will probably get some opportunities. This is a very, very conservative coaching staff. They're not allowing Shedeur Sanders to get a lot of reps. They're not going to let a rookie running back coming off the charge, who might just come back somewhere middle of the season or something like that, allow him to get a full workload until something happens. And then again, this offense isn't going to be slinging the rock around and be super explosive, so really going to get any money touches out of him without a training camp. And now people are still drafting him. There's functional players on the board. There's good draft picks. There's lottery ticket players all over the board here. Judkins is a huge lottery ticket right now because he may not be there this season. And if he is, it could be to a limited capacity to where it doesn't matter in fantasy. The talent's real. Solid running back prospect. But is he going to be on the field? Is he going to get enough touches? Are you going to be able to hoard him the whole season? Some players just make sense at ADP. We're looking at Breece Hall right here. Breece Hall has some upside. We got Justin Fields. We're working the rock here. Looks like they're going to be heavy in the run game this year. I know you got questions with Braylon Allen, but when you look at their ADPs and how they're split, you can get them both. You can get them both. And you want lottery ticket backup running backs. Why not get a lottery ticket backup running back that's a handcuff to your starter? So if something happens to Breece Hall, you're good to go. You don't have to fight off the waiver wire for Braylon Allen. You got him. He's your last pick. He's functional because you got Breece Hall. He's proven he can produce at the NFL level. He's a young running back prospect. Breece Hall catches the ball out of the backfield. He's got 4.3 speed. He's explosive. They're talking about how he's good in the passing game. They got Justin Fields. You know that RPO game is going to be heavy. You know Breece Hall is going to get a lot of work in the flat. They're going to use him a lot. So what? They lighten up the workload a little bit if Braylon Allen's cooking a little bit. Breece Hall, the killer bees, him and Braylon Allen, that's a solid backfield to have in fantasy football. The price is up there, but when you're looking at sheer talent, sheer opportunity, sheer touches, workload and passing game, there's a lot of ifs once you get past him. I like Aaron Hampton. Josh Jacobs is an old stable. James Cook is in the next round. And you're looking at these running backs, things start to fall off quickly. You could go wide receiver, get you a Breece Hall. That could be a rather fine start to your draft. 2 studs and a Breece. That's looking solid. Then you pick up Braylon Allen. You're not worried about the Jets. He's got a lot of upside week to week. You can definitely see that. I can definitely see him getting a lot of workload with Justin Fields. There's a lot of strategies to use in the middle rounds of our drafts here. Rookies in the middle rounds, the running backs, maybe a guy like Caleb Johnson, especially when you start looking at those running backs in the middle rounds. Some of those guys are looking father time right in the face. We got some upside wide receivers that are a little bit ambiguous depending on the context you're looking at them. And you're saying, hey, Caleb Johnson, he may not be the starter to start the season, more than likely not. It's more than likely Jaylen Warren. But you're playing the long game here. This is an expensive lottery ticket option here. RJ Harvey's off the board. Trevion Henderson's off the board. Now you're looking at the last high ticket running back from this rookie draft class. After that, Scadaboo, who's dealing with a hamstring. And if you want to go with a high-end rookie, this is it. This is it because the other two rookies are off the board. If not, DeAndre Swift, David Montgomery, James Conner's off the board. He's off the board right now in ADP. Tony Pollard, Joe Mixon, who we just talked about, who hasn't been out there in practice. Isaiah Pacheco was banged up last year. Sounds like it's going to be a 1A, 1B thing with him and Hunt from what we're hearing from beat writers. Caleb Johnson could be a guy that goes off somewhere down the line this season. Expensive lottery ticket. Jordan Addison might be getting suspended. Deebo Samuel injury history. Juwan Jennings might be sharing some targets. He had a splash week last year, but also had a lot of bummer weeks as well. Chris Olave's got that quarterback play. Jerry Jeudy's got that quarterback play, but might get fueled well by Flacco. Ricky Pearsall's got some damn good upside. And you're looking at Jacoby Myers. He's steady Eddie, so that's a wide receiver to look at. But you look at this whole round, and after this, it's rather ambiguous. Caleb Johnson, ambiguous due to a rookie running back, but the talent's there. He could come on strong somewhere down the line this season to really turn things around for your team as your RB2, RB3 off your draft board right now. But that could pay huge dividends when we get in October, November, December this year. If you want to talk about high-end lottery ticket players that have the potential to go nuclear, and you can pivot quickly if it doesn't, look at this. Luther Burden has been scorching everybody in training camp. He's also going into double-digit rounds right now. In home league drafts, he will be cheaper than this unless you're drafting in Chicago. But this was a 5-star prospect, big money wide receiver that should have been drafted in the first round. Almost everybody had him as a first-round talent. Some people had him in the top 15, top 10. Burden fell to the Bears, and he's been scorching everybody in training camp. He was making plays happen. And you're looking at everybody in this list here, on these tiers in the draft right now. Everybody's ambiguous. Everybody's got upside. Everybody's shown their hand a little bit. So it's not like some of these players are going to come out of nowhere. Maybe a Tyler Warren can come out of nowhere and get you a lot of production. Maybe a Cam Scatterbo. Usually it's the younger guys. Odds are a year 5, year 6 player isn't all of a sudden going to go ham overnight. Luther Burden. What's in it for him? He's a 5-star prospect. Coming out of high school. Went to Mizzou. Bad quarterback play. But he can break off routes. He's torching everybody in camp. You got a quarterback here that's not afraid to sling it. He does not care who's out there, who's open, whatever. He's going to sling it to you. Coaching staff change seems rather good for the wide receiver depth chart. Upgrade to the offensive line. Look for Luther Burden to be out there. If you're looking to take a swing at the fence, here you go. And there's not many swings at the fence at wide receiver this year once you get to the double-digit rounds. That's why Luther Burden's up there. But in your home league drafts, I look for him to be a little bit cheaper. If he is a little bit cheaper, I bet you he is. You need to take that swing at the pinata because there's not many more upside plays. But I got a sneaky one for you. And this one's off the dome. This is a free one for you. If you want to go wide receiver, that's cheap. That's a lottery ticket play to have as one of your last picks. You're done with running backs. I got this one name for you, but I need you to hit that follow button and hit that like button right now because I'm going to drop it here because he's crushing camp. The beat writers love him, and they're expecting him to be a starter around the end of the season. You might pick him up off waivers, but we're looking at Pat Bryant from the Denver Broncos. Watch for him in your drafts. Watch for him during preseason. This is a high-ticket rookie wide receiver that's been making plays all throughout camp that could explode, that could garner some upside, some notoriety from the market here soon. But those are it. Those are the players we're talking about today. Let me know what you think in the comments below. I want to hear about that. Make sure you hit that subscribe button on the way out. Thank you for watching. Catch you on the next video.